Welcome to the Creative Life Podcast, the place where creatives go for inspiration. On this show, we sit down with the artists, makers, and creative thinkers to talk about the real stories behind the work, the challenges, the breakthroughs, and the lessons that shape a creative life. Each conversation is designed to inspire you, encourage you, and remind you that your creative journey matters. My name is Jessica. I'm a creative coach as well as your host. I'm joined today by co-host Dr. Jacqueline Gibbons, and we are on the couch recapping everything that we learned this month from our guests. And Dr. Gibbons, how about you just give us a quick synopsis of what we learned this month? And for you creatives at home, if you're like, I didn't watch this month. Well, guess what? We're streaming on all platforms, so you can just skip back and then come back to us. That way we can unpack some lessons that you can apply to your creative life. All right, Dr. Gibbons, what can we do?
So we had 3 tremendous guests this month. The first was Katie Breidenbach, who is not just an interior designer. She incorporates wellness and finding the true you and allowing you to create that space, and that will propel you to what you're wanting for your next chapter. Following that was we had Wilson.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, Wilson Musterman, who wrote the book Marked by Adoption, which is a book where he was sharing experiences of his own as someone being adopted, but more so the lessons or the learnings, and almost a way to support those who have also been adopted and feel that way, and just the remarkable global impact his book has already had. And our third guest, Curtis Reynolds, who realized there was something missing that he wanted, and 3 years later now, he's still carrying on with the Omaha Broadway Bar, which travels from place to place and has created a huge following and a really special space for many people. So a lot of tremendous talent, unique. We have so many great artists on here, and not one is like the other. And they all bring something so beautiful to the table. And my jaw drops every time. We meet really cool people.
Oh, we do. And I absolutely love it. So one of the things that is a good problem for us to have is that we are fully booked for the rest of the year.
Awesome.
And the reason why we're fully booked is because there's just that many artists here. We have barely scratched the surface of who is here operating in and out of Nebraska. And what we're really seeing is that this creative life, it translates to so many different areas. We had an interior designer this month. We had an author this month. We had an individual who founded the Omaha Broadway Bar, also an educator, as well as a teacher for vocal lessons as well. And so it really just shows the expanse. But what you and I were able to do in our Creatives at Home, especially those that watched all the episodes, we get to do a deep dive.
Yes.
Like, we get to take lessons from their creative life and apply it to our own. So the first thing that I noticed across all 3 of our artists is that they all listened to their inner self. And let me give you an example why. So Katie, with Katie Noel Studio, she talked about that whisper. She went to a workshop. She was able to understand her inner creative, and she talked about a whisper and listening to that whisper. Wilson, also a creative, an author with a bestseller as well for the new release, but he talked about just those questions and those experiences, and he was very honest. Like, I did this for me. I was listening to me and what I want to do. I'm not responsible for the whole world and everybody else, but I am coming to this and I'm listening to me. And then Curtis Reynolds, what did he say? He talked about how he was in Nebraska, he went to New York, he came back to Nebraska, and he had this thing in him, this calling And then he's at a bar and he sees a piano and he's listening to himself. So all of them were listening. And then there's also the trend of you have to get rid of the noise. So Dr. Gibbons, I want to talk to you to give our creatives some actionable steps. How can they reduce the noise so they can hear the inner artist?
One of the things that Katie mentioned that she did was sometimes if she was feeling a block or wasn't connected to that creativity, she would create, I think she said, messy art. Just doing something intentional, messy, on the fly, not for anyone else, just whether it's some angst or just being silly or playful, just creating something just for the sake of creating it. There's no expected outcome. And that was one of her ways of clearing the noise. She got the noise out, she got it down on paper or whatever she needed to do. And then there's the quiet again. So she can hear and feel and follow. And sometimes as creatives, we can get caught up in the final product. Where is this headed? What is this going to look like? What is the sound I want? And the final product is almost one of the furthest things that should be from your mind if you're wanting to tap back into your creativity. Because it's not about what do I want to make? What do I want to do? It's what's the next step? How does this feel? And Curtis mentioned he would, when he did that first time and had the piano and he got to do his performance, and he made a little notation to himself, I really enjoyed that. Maybe I could switch this up a little bit. And so there was no grand master plan of what a show will be, what is the next venue, the next showcase. It was, well, I tried that. That felt good. I'll do more of that, and then I could add this. So it's taking that step, just a small step. How did that feel? Okay. How could you tweak it? What's something you could do different? Maybe do something totally opposite. Try that out. It's understanding that your creative process is not, it's not a skyscraper. It's one brick at a time. It might even be a granule at a time. So I think that's, I don't know, that's kind of what I picked up on with some of our.
Sure. So essentially, what I'm just going to unpack what you just said. And really, you're talking a lot about mind-body connection. And so our artist did that in various ways. So for Katie Noel, she had to address her environment. That's how she came up with Katie Noel Interiors, her design studio. Essentially, in order for her to connect with herself and her wellness journey that she shared about, she had to address her environment. Well, this environment is reflecting me, but also it shows my projection of what I can be. And then for Wilson, when he was going through his author journey, in order to get connected with himself, he had to understand himself in his own personal story. And then for Curtis, once again, he had all these, it's like, I'm teaching, this is great, that I'm performing, but there's also something else. So you have to be able to really not only listen, but also be in tune and one. So I thank you for drawing that in and bringing that into the conversation. Another big theme that we have heard about is they're all entrepreneurial. If you picked up on that, Katie, she's an entrepreneur. She came from an organized workspace to being an entrepreneur. Curtis as well came from an academic institution and then went into entrepreneurship. Wilson is a student he's in the academic sphere and he's also being entrepreneurial. So talk about that part of creativity, because some of you will have creative businesses. So and you've had your own LLC in the back before. So tell us about being an entrepreneur.
Well, I think something that they all touched on was connection and connecting with others. And actually, connection is currency. And Curtis was saying that it's one thing to create something that you love, but then to have people with whom you share this, also those with whom you appreciate their feedback, and then kind of going out of your way. When he first did this, he knew a friend who was friends with the manager of the bar that had the piano, and so that's kind of how the first thing came about. Wilson, he goes right for the gullet. He goes right to the big names, cold call. How am I going to publish? Tell me how to publish my own book. I mean, that's some gumption.
Oh, I love Audacity.
Yeah.
I live by the strength of Audacity sometimes. Just to believe that you can exist in that space and, well, self-actualization too is what you're really getting at. Curtis, there was also that saying, hey, I want to step out from what I know into what I don't know. Wilson, stepping out from what I know into what I don't know. Katie as well. And you have to, I feel that that's the difference between wanting to create and actually creating. It is a trigger, and it is a very hard trigger to do.
Right. Think about what if Wilson didn't have that audacity, or while he received several no's, having that audacity, being brave and vulnerable is what allowed him to now have impacted so many. And it's just the beginning for him.
Absolutely.
And if you can't be an entrepreneur if you don't share what you're doing, if you don't invite others to what you're doing. And something else that Wilson does beautifully, in not just connecting, but connecting authentically. He was sharing, people who have come to hear him speak, and then he's at this person's art show, he's at this person's lecture series, different things. The reciprocity, the connection, and how that then expands your base. That expands your business. It expands your visibility. So just understanding that you don't have to have a big marketing plan, but taking that first step in connecting. How are you going to be visible? In what way are you going to be visible? That's authentic to you, that's meaningful, that is maybe a little scary, but that's where you have to start.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing that, especially I will also add resilience too. Yes. You talked about reciprocity and vulnerability, and those all go hand in hand with resilience and making sure that Curtis also said too, there's only so many roles that you can get. All right, so I'm interested. I'm going to enter into a rapid fire round with you. So think 30 seconds or less, maybe 60. That's all you get.
I'm not good at that.
60 seconds. But we're going to do a rapid fire because once again, we're recapping the last 3 episodes that we've had.
Yeah.
So if you could summarize for those creatives at home, Katie's episode in one sentence, what is the biggest takeaway that they can get from that episode?
I would say that great question. The tremendous connection that your wellness has with the space that you create can fuel your creative fire or completely dampen your spirit, because on an unconscious level we are receiving from our space. We're receiving from our environment, whether it's an office, whether it's a park, what fuels you and what drains you.
Awesome. That is a really good summary. All right, so now let's do Wilson. What's your number one takeaway? Same question.
Well, I love that he's a fellow Elvis fan. It seemed to be.
No, that's Curtis. No, Wilson is.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Yep.
You're right.
Yep.
Curtis was the Broadway. Wilson, yeah, Wilson left us that great quote. Yes, about Elvis. Oh my gosh.
And by the way, I
Okay.
sent you some video.
Did you?
I got some video of him when he said when he was in preschool dressed up like Elvis.
Oh.
I sent it to you.
Okay.
We should
I
post
love
that. Anyway, okay. I think what a great takeaway from Wilson is when you choose to take one step, adjust, see how it feels, to know that there is value in what you have to share, and then you continue to go with that, and you believe wholeheartedly in what you've created and the beauty and the intent of your masterpiece, that a no, a rejection, a we're not interested is inconsequential, because you know that your creation is meant for someone.
Okay. No, that's great. I think that helped. Well, Curtis actually echoed what Wilson said too, that it's for someone else. Like, I mean, he did it for me. He was really honest about that. But then Curtis also said it is meant to be shared. And then Noelle also, she talks about sharing as well, with co-creating spaces that people inhabit. So when we think about Curtis's episode, if there was a word of wisdom that you could gather from his everything that he shared with us, if you were to share that with our creative audience, what would be that wisdom that they could take from Curtis and apply it to their own creative lives?
Create what you wish existed. He knew that the part of performance was something he was missing, didn't have that much of an outlet, and kind of the audition process can be strenuous and lengthy. But so the performance piece, and also having community and a space where, hey, there are a lot of us who enjoy these things, and there was once a piano bar here and now there no longer is. This is what I want. Oh, some people liked it. Oh, more people liked it. I guess I'm not the only one who wished this existed, and look at him now.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I would take away too from Curtis is the fact that he echoes something that I live by, and that is, I don't want everybody. I do not want everybody. I tell people, hey, the Creative Life Podcast may or may not be for you. But if you do opt in, like get into the community. But it is okay if you're not ready for that journey, if you're not ready for that creative community, if you're kind of just like on the fringes, looking, seeing, but it can be, and we were talking off camera also about the entrepreneur journey and putting yourself out there. And for creatives at home, I mean, social media, having a website, having a digital presence, it is pretty much not optional now at this point in time. As far as e-commerce, things of that nature, I mean, of course, there are going to be people who have found a way to stay on the perimeter of the digital life. However, for those that have come into the digital life, you do have to make that decision. Do you want everybody, millions of users, or do you just want, like you said, we have a couple of people that show up for us. Do you want that niche? I feel a community that is committed to you, regardless of how many followers it is, that is more powerful than going viral, I feel, because of the mode that we're operating in. However, for some other people, they might need the virality. And so I appreciated that too. And then also, as we're talking and we're going through this journey, can you tell us a little bit about the journey that you're on? Because you are on a board and you're getting ready to do an art festival, an exhibit. So can you just give us a summary for our creatives back at home? Because I want you guys to know that Dr. Gibbons is not just on this couch. She is advocating for art in the community. She's a board member and she has an amazing event coming up to help fundraise. So can you just give us some of the behind the scenes of your creative life? And if anything in these past month is what you're going to take as you're working on this art exhibit.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So yes, I'm a board member of, if you're not from the Omaha area, in the greater Omaha area is a suburb, Papillion, and I am on the board of the Papillion Arts Foundation. And coming up is our annual gala fundraiser that is a showcase of local artists. And whether it's sculpt, paint, we're having musicians, we're having singers, we're having monologues performed, and while also providing an opportunity for those who either are creatives or those who are lovers of the arts, or those who are lovers of the community and supporting artists in the community. This is an event for them. It's to showcase artists. There will be a few items that will be up for a live auction. And I think it's another one of those things with connectivity. But of course, it's a lot of behind the scenes. These things don't happen for free, along with the venue, and sponsors are needed. People are purchasing tickets. You can sponsor a table, things of that nature. But I think it's showing appreciation for our artists, that they're valued and their work matters. I think it's providing an opportunity for the greater public to be introduced to their art form. And I think it's an opportunity for the public to see how valuable and vital our creatives and our arts are to the community. They are an absolute reflection of the community, and there will be a bit of behind the scenes going on up until that event. Stay tuned. We can talk about it next month. I can't wait to tell you about what a great success that was.
Yes, absolutely. So the creative life looks like so many things. For example, for Dr. Gibbons, it is sitting on a board and being active. It's not just a sitting board. You're actually active. You're rolling up your sleeves and you're finding ways to advocate for our arts community. And this past month, you've also learned that art showing up can be looking at your space, taking your personal story, and also looking at the personal stories of others and figuring out how they can live a creative life in the place that they spend so much time in. It's also creativity can come about in various ways. I love how Wilson was able to break down financial barriers to publishing by using AI and leveraging his connections and networking. The creative life can look like just exploring your own story. The creative life can also look like saying, hey, we need a fourth space that is a place where community can come together intentionally to gather and to connect. And we need that. And actually, we're going to be mobile. We're going to bring the community to where they are versus asking them to come to us. So the creative life looks like so many different things. And in my own creative journey, I'm actually on my way to an artist showcase. So I'm part of the North Omaha Writers Workshop, which is sponsored by the Nebraska Writers Collective. And we have a show coming up in July. And let me tell you, going through this process, I'm really exploring my maternal connection to the earth and figuring out what that looks like. What is my connection to my mother, my grandmother, my daughter, my great grandmother? It's always we as a connection. And the creative life, sometimes I learn things from our guests too, actually all the time.
Yes.
I learn things from our guests. And what I'm taking away from this month is, one, I need to look at my environment to see if my environment is shaping the person who I am, was, or who I want to be. I also need to look at the story and write the story for myself. I don't need to think about, is this going to be a bestseller? Is this going to tear down the house in July? It's, can I just get it on the page? And then finally, how can I invite others in? How can I share this? Because this wasn't just meant for me, it was meant for others, and I need to ship it out into the ether. So these are the things that I'm walking away with this month, and I hope, creatives, that you are walking away with something too. And if this episode resonated with you, or an episode 2 shows ago, please make sure you like, you share, you subscribe. We are on social media. You can come follow us on Instagram at The Creative Life Podcast Omaha. We have all kinds of really cool things happening and just showing what our creative community is like here. And so just remember, wherever you are in your creative journey, that your art is worth it. And Dr. Gibbons and I, we would love to partner with you in that. So drop us a DM, send us an email, and share this with another creative. Until next time, goodbye.